Okay, good afternoon. My name is Maria Fernanda Mesa Bonilla, and this is the task number 1 from the material design for face-to-face environments and looking into for design and teaching materials. So we're going to start with the first question of the activity, and it is, what should English language learning ELT materials have? So we can start first for knowing what is the English language materials. They are of significant importance for foreign language education. They determine the quality of quantity of input, the effective and cognitive involvement of learners in the language learning process, what is to be taught, language teaching methodology, syllabus, organization, teacher training, and learner training. So in English language learning, ELT material should have some components. Number 1 is needs assessment. A central ingredient for developing materials is the use of the systematized needs assessment procedures, because it involves a set of aspects that determines teacher decision making that will most probably help both students and teachers achieve meaningful and effective teaching and learning settings. Number 2 is setting goals and objectives. The horizon to be focused on this classroom should be set up clearly, aiming of satisfying students' needs and expectations through the development and implementation of learning strategies and materials. Number 3 is conceptualizing content or designing a syllabus. This third component encompasses the incorporation of language aspects and language learning development procedures that are vital for the course and progress of the course. And number 4 is selecting and development materials and activities. Selecting materials and activities for our students is not a half-hazard decision. It is one that embraces making effective an opportune decision for their benefit. The number 5 is organization of content and activities. In material development, both content and activities could be constructed in 3 distinct fashions known as the building, the recycling, and the sequence of the matrix approaches. The first one gradually moved from the simple to the complex activities, from the general to the specific ones, and from concrete to abstract. The second one provides students with a learning challenge in terms of a new skill area, a different type of activity, or new focus. And the third one follows a consistent sequence to be fulfilled within a given period. Uh, the next component is evaluation. As it is widely known, evaluation is a constant process and so must to be carried out during the outgoing lessons. And the seventh component is resources and constraints. Teachers ought to be resourceful and then adapt to the tangible or intangible givings and lacks of their teaching situations, insofar as it allows them to make down to earth sense of all the processes involved in developing materials. Okay, the second question is, what are the main principles of second language acquisition relevant to the development of materials for teaching of languages? Okay, there are 15 main principles. Number 1 is achieve impact. So materials should achieve impact through novelty, variety, attractive presentation, and an appealing content. Help learners feel at ease. ESL research has revealed that students seem to learn more and in a shorter time when they are relaxed and comfortably engaged in learning activities. The next is help learners develop self-confidence. So relaxed and self-confident learners learn faster. Be perceived. Be perceived as relevant and useful by the learner. Facilitate student self-investment. This could aid the learner in making efficient use of the resources to facilitate self-discovery. Attain readiness. As observed by Krashen in 1985, there is a need for Rockton input since it features what the learners are already familiar with, but that also contains the potential for acquiring other elements of the input, which each learner might or might not be ready to learn. So learners' conscious or subconscious attention to linguistic features, uh, so that they can become aware of a gap between a particular feature of their native or first language and the target language. Um, Seliger suggests that helping learners notice that gap between output and input facilitates the acquisition process. Provide opportunities for communicative purposes. So in L2, thereby fostering language use, not just usage. As pointed out by Cannon and Swain in 1980, learners should be held to reflect upon their existing procedural knowledge and develop a strategy component. Place of learning. Take into consideration that for learning to take a place, learners may be able to rehearse certain information, to retrieve it from short-term memory or to procedure when prompted by the teacher or materials. But this does not mean that learning has taken place. Ellis, in 1997, reports on some research on this principle and suggests that the need for post-evaluation of materials to find out what learners have eventually learned as a result of using them. Learning styles. Take into account the students' different learning styles such as visual, auditory, kinesthetic, analytic, experimental, global, dependent or independent, etc. As suggested by Tomlinson in 1998 and Harmer in 2007. Regard students' emotion or affective screen. As Delayport and Krashen in 1982 assure, learners' individual motives, emotions, and attitudes are displayed in the EFL classroom and result in different learning rates and grades. Silent period. Allow for a silent period at the onset of instructions until learners have gained sufficient exposure to the target language and confidence in understanding it. Brain lateralization. Stimulate left and right brain lateralization and through the intellectual, aesthetic, and emotional involvement. While the left side of our brain processes speech, analyzes time and sequence, and recognize letters, numbers, and words, the right side processes creativity, patterns, spatial awareness, and context, and recognizes faces, places, and objects, as affirmed by Tomlinson in 1998 and are known in 2003. Offer plenty of free practice. As Ellis in 1990 asserts, controlled practice seems to have little long-term effect on the accuracy required to perform new structures. Ellis also points out that controlled practice has little effect on fluency. Provide opportunities, oh my God, for outcome feedback. The following aspect we would like to address has to do with the fundamental elements that must be taken into consideration for the development of teaching and learning materials. So thank you so much.